What's up guys, welcome back to Pat Outdoors. Today we're going to be working on the Talaria XXX. It's been a little while since we rode this thing. Last time we took it out, I was testing out the new fork I installed by RFloXa, which is quite an improvement from the factory D&M fork, though my stock fork was pretty worn out since this bike is almost 2 years old and I ride off-road often, so the suspension gets quite a bit of abuse. But today we're going to be installing RFloXa's new rear shock to complete the suspension upgrade on this Talaria. Every new shock comes with an inspection report, just like their suspension forks. I chose to go with a model with a 450 pound spring rate since I like the ride to be a little bit more soft. One of my main gripes with my XXX is it just simply doesn't ride as plush as my Roar Mantis X or my old Suron. So hopefully the suspension upgrade helps. Just for reference, I'm 175 pounds. If you're a heavier rider, you might want to go with a higher spring rate. I think they offer a 550 along with a 650. So you can see the spring is stamped 450 pounds. This is the spring rate. Low speed compression is adjusted here. High speed compression is adjusted here on the big knob. Rebound is adjustable here. Though I'm not going to make any changes whatsoever for the meantime. I just want to see how it rides straight out of the box. If you are interested in getting more information on RFloXa's new rear shock upgrade or their fork upgrades for your Talaria, I'll have a link to their website in the description below. Already got the bike on a motorcycle stand. I just found this to be the easiest way to work on the rear suspension. Please ignore how dirty the bike is. I just have not gotten a chance to clean it since we last took it out for testing out the fork. But I'll get this all cleaned up after we ride again today. To take out the rear shock, you're just going to loosen the nuts on the back side of the Allen bolt. These are 13 millimeter, top and bottom. And the Allen bolts themselves are 6 millimeter Allen. So all you're going to need is a 13 mil wrench, a 6 millimeter Allen, and a 3/8 ratchet. Just going to break this loose. Take the weight off the back, slowly pull the Allen bolt out. Just like that, we can drop the swing arm, let the wheel rest on the floor. Yeah, I definitely need to clean this thing. Just like that. So you can see there is quite a visual difference in the size of the spring. So you can see up close, the coil spring itself is a lot thicker than the factory one, but it's supposed to be the same spring rate, so we'll see how it rides. But as far as overall length, it looks to be exactly the same, so there shouldn't be any height changes. Take some of this off before we put the new shock in. Yeah, fits like a glove. It's nice and snug, just like the factory one. And here's a closer look at how it looks installed. Looks pretty nice. And the bottom side of it has slightly less clearance than the original shock, but still got plenty. Nothing should be rubbing during compression. Well, let's take this thing out and see how it rides. I have 83.4 volts. Surface is a little wet today.
Not the most ideal conditions, but that's all we got. Holy shit, it's slippery. Just taking a quick pause here. I haven't fully cleared the bottom half of my lot yet, so we're just gonna loop back real quick. So far though, initial ride impressions in off-road conditions, the bike does feel quite stable. I'm not sure if I would call it more plush. I wanna say it rides almost a little stiffer than stock. The shock is definitely doing its job as far as dampening goes, so I can't really complain. Though I do wanna make some adjustments to the rebound and compression to see if I can get this thing dialed in. Man, I don't even have the power turned up on this thing, and I'm losing traction quite a bit. I think it's just because the surface is pretty wet. Forgot I got new pads on this thing. I definitely got to cut down the end of this log over here. Another thing I want to do to this bike is swap out the front wheel. I think I want to swap it out to like a 19-inch wheel from like a MX4. I think it'll just give it a little bit better off-road capability. Whew. This thing is so much fun. Considering it's still got the stock 17-inch wheel set front and rear, but with the Shinko 241s on it, this thing handles off-road conditions just fine. The RFloXa fork and new rear shock upgrade is definitely a step up over the factory D&M stuff. I'm gonna try to get a little bit more seat time in before we start making adjustments to the rebound compression and whatnot for the fork and the rear shock. It is starting to get a little dark out here, so let's get this bike packed up, throw it in the back of the SUV and get this thing washed up. Man, this thing is absolutely caked. So I'm gonna spray it down with some of this bio wash and just let it soak for a few minutes, and then we're gonna pressure wash it. This is definitely the cleanest my Talaria has been in a very long time. That was actually the first time I've ever power washed this bike, since I've always been a little bit intimidated power washing e-bike, since I don't want to mess up any of the electronics, and I care about this bike the most out of all my bikes. But I kind of wanted to mention a couple more things about RFloXa's new shock upgrade. This is a 6061 T6 aluminum body, so it should be very durable. It's got an external nitrogen reservoir, and it comes in two different lanes, 240 millimeter and 265 millimeter. That is the distance between the mounting points. If you want to get more details on their new shocks or their fork upgrades for your Talaria or your Sur-Ron, I'll have their website linked in the description below. You can also use discount code PADOutdoors to give yourself a little bit of a discount. I'd also like to get more ideas on what to do with this bike. If you guys have any, I've been thinking about getting a graphics kit. I'm also going to be replacing the Shinko 241 3-inch tire that I installed on there, since as you can see it is very worn out from too many burnouts. We're actually going to step it down to a 2.75 inch. I should have honestly gone with a 2.75 from the beginning. It's more appropriately sized for this bike. But if you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful in any way, do me a favor and hit that like button. But if you like this kind of content, want to keep up with some of my bike projects, such as this Talaria, my Tudio, my Roar Mantis, or any of my razors, consider subscribing to this channel. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.